Have you ever seen a lobster and wondered, wow, what are those giant claws for? They look pretty impressive, don't they? Well, today we're diving deep down to the ocean floor to find out. Imagine shimmering sunlight filtering through the water, dancing across colorful coral and smooth, seaweed-covered rocks. This is a rocky reef, a bustling underwater city teeming with life. Little fish dart in and out of hiding places. Sea stars cling to the rocks, and crabs scuttle sideways across the sand. Our guide today is a wise old lobster named Shelly. Shelly isn't just any lobster. She's lived on this reef for many, many years. She's seen it all. Shelly has a shiny, dark blue shell, long, wiggling antennae, and of course, 2 enormous claws. But today, she seems a little worried. Oh dear, she sighs, wringing her smaller claws together. Yes, lobsters have little claws too. Little Larry Lobster is so confused. He can't figure out how to use his big claws. Little Larry is a young lobster, still growing into his big shell and even bigger claws. He keeps bumping into things and accidentally snapping at passing fish. Don't worry, he's not hurting them. Shelly, Shelly, he cries, scuttling over to her. My claws are too big. They're clumsy, and I can't even pick up my favorite seaweed snack. Shelly chuckles, a bubbly sound that makes the water ripple. Patience, young Larry, your claws are your most important tools. You just need to learn how to use them. She explains, these big claws aren't just for show, you know. They're for hunting, for defense, and for all sorts of important lobster jobs. Hunting? Larry asks, tilting his head. You mean like catching yummy crabs and tasty snails? Shelly nods. Exactly. You see, lobsters are predators, which means they hunt other animals for food. But those crabs and snails have hard shells, don't they? That's where your big claws come in handy. Shelly demonstrates. See this claw? She points to her larger, more powerful claw. This is my crusher claw. It's like a super strong hammer. I use it to crack open the shells of crabs and snails so I can get to the delicious meat inside. Larry watches in amazement as Shelly easily crushes a discarded clamshell with her crusher claw. Wow, Larry exclaims. But what about the other claw? Shelly wiggles her other claw, which looks a bit different. It's still big, but it's much sharper and has a serrated edge. This, she says, is my cutter claw. It's like a pair of super sharp scissors. Once I've crushed a shell a little with my crusher claw, I use my cutter claw to snip and tear the meat into smaller pieces, so I can eat it easily. Larry tries to imitate Shelly, but he's still a bit clumsy. He accidentally nips a piece of seaweed with his cutter claw. Oops, he says sheepishly. Shelly smiles. Practice makes perfect, Larry. You'll get the hang of it. But what about defense? Larry asks. Do I use my claws to fight off scary sharks? Shelly laughs. Well, hopefully, you won't have to fight a shark. But yes, your claws are also very important for protecting yourself. If a bigger fish or another predator tries to attack you, you can use your claws to pinch them and scare them away. Shelly explains that lobsters aren't just born with big claws. They grow as the lobster grows. And sometimes, lobsters even lose their claws. It's all part of a process called molting, she says. As we grow, our shells become too small for us. So, we shed our old shell and grow a new, bigger one. Molting? Larry asks, confused. Does that mean you take off your shell like a coat? Exactly, Shelly replies. But it's a bit more complicated than that. It takes a lot of energy and makes us very vulnerable because our new shell is soft and takes time to harden. She continues, sometimes, when we're trying to escape from a predator, we might even lose a claw. But don't worry, it grows back. Larry's eyes widen. You mean you can grow a whole new claw? Shelly nods. It takes time, but yes. That's one of the amazing things about being a lobster. We're very resilient. Larry looks at his own claws with newfound appreciation. He practices snapping them open and shut, imagining himself cracking open a tasty crab or fending off a hungry predator. He still needs a lot of practice, but he's starting to understand the power of his big claws. Shelly smiles, watching Larry practice. Remember, Larry, she says, your claws are your tools, your weapons, and your protectors. They're what make you a lobster. Larry puffs out his chest, feeling proud. He still has a lot to learn, but he's excited to grow into his big claws. So next time you see a lobster with its impressive claws, remember that they're not just for show. They're essential tools for hunting, defense, and surviving in the amazing underwater world. And who knows, maybe one day you'll even get to see a lobster molting and growing a brand new claw. Think about all the other amazing creatures in the ocean. What special tools or adaptations do they have to help them survive? Maybe you can research some on your next ocean adventure. Introduction.